Hello. Today we'll discuss the details of S.a.F.E, also known as Search and Filter Email, a little app that I put together a while back, well, not that long ago. And so the first thing I want to do is, before we get into the app, is just to show you a little presentation here that I put together. And we're not going to go into the details about setup, of how to get it installed and how to get it going, because that's something that's been done in the last video. So if you would like to, if you did not get a chance to watch it, here's some information for you. So to set up this tool, app, whatever you want to call it, you need to go to that first URL there, number 1, and that's the main form. It's actually a Google template that will give you the form on your end, and then you can start working from it using the previous video that describes the whole details of the process. Process isn't long. It probably will take you 5 minutes or so to get it all set up, probably less than that depending on how fast you do things, and then you can start using it. And the second element that you'll need is this app script code, which is located at the second URL, number 2 over there on the screen. And then the actual video that talks about how to get it all, put it all together and start using it, is in that number 3 URL on YouTube. And you can check it out at your own convenience, speed, pace, whatever you want to call it, and get the stuff set up. So I'm going to continue assuming that you already have it set up, and I'm going to show the examples that I'm actually going to discuss today, the use of it. And so if you don't have it set up yet, unfortunately, you don't have time right now to set it up, because it'll take a little longer. I'm just going to leave this on the screen for another few seconds here so everybody can get it. And once that's done, then we're going to go into the actual demo. So here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so let's do a demonstration here. So I'm going to click to run this thing, and this is what S.a.F.E looks like. So the basic interface is pretty simple. Your version is going to say S.a.F.E 2, but it's very similar to this one, so don't worry about that. You're going to have a newer version than what I'm running right now. Essentially, it gives you a little bit of information at the top, how to contact me, and if you have any questions, things like that. And the actual app is set up using a combination of Google Forms, that's number 1, Google Apps Script, which is a scripting language from Google that allows you to control their various apps and make them work together with each other, and also Google Sheets, which is where the information will be stored and where you'll be executing the commands from. And the idea behind it came from what Google calls their advanced search. If you go into either Gmail or Inbox, you are able to use commands, special commands in the search box that allow you to do give you additional functionality, which is outside of the normal interface. Like a simple example would be, let's say that you wanted to look at all your emails that have attachments. There's no button on the screen or anywhere, or any kind of menu selection that will show you emails with attachments, but there is a command that you can put in the search that says has : attachments. And if you do that, then it's going to show you all the emails that have attachments. And in addition to that, you can make these commands more complicated, more advanced, if you will, which is why they call it advanced search. And you can do some really cool stuff in terms of both searching for email and then filtering it, so you only are looking at a subset that's of interest to you. And so I wrote this thing because these commands are kind of complicated, but not really complicated. There's too much to remember. There's too many commands. They have all this special, a little bit cryptic for some people, syntax in how you use them. And so because of that, it makes it more difficult to use, and the vast majority of people don't even know they exist, much less use them, because it's not easily visible on the screen. It's just something you type in the search box, and if you know what you're typing, then it's going to do it. But and you can, by the way, get on Google, if you do a search for advanced search on Gmail, it'll come up and you'll see Google's page that describes all of them and how to use them, things like that. But this makes it easier. Even if you know what they are, this makes it easier because it's set up in a very simple to use form where you specify the information, and then the actual command gets built for you, And then this particular tool also stores the information in the spreadsheet. So let me just walk you through it now that I can explain how it works and show you specifically what it does. So the first thing it's asking for is search set title. And the reason I called it that is because it's something you're looking for, so that's why the word search. And then the reason I call it a set is because in addition to being able to control Gmail through this advanced search, you're also now able to control Inbox by Gmail, their new email client. And so because of that, I'm actually giving you ability in this tool to control either of those two programs or both of them, depending how you use it. And so that's why I call it a set, because it's got two things it's controlling. And so the title is just the title. In other words, each one of these commands normally would have a bunch of different words in it and special characters, which of course makes it difficult to remember which one is which. So I decided to make it easier for everybody to actually give it a name. And so let's say we want to be looking for emails that have, I don't know, my son's name in it. So we'll put in, the word Ben in there. So this particular email set, I should say, that the subset of these emails I'm going to call Ben, for example. And it says the next thing it's asking for is basically, it says enter a word or a phrase you're searching for. So you can specify anything you're looking for. In my case, I'm just going to put his full name in here, but you can specify one word, multiple words, however you want to do it. Essentially, what you're trying to find in this search or this filter process that you're going through, what are you looking for? That's what you'll put in on this line search. And this is a minimum that you can specify. If you just specify those two things, that's good enough. You don't have to specify anything else if you don't want to. And so to make it simple, let's just start with this. So I give it a name, and I give it the criteria for what to look for. And I'm going to just scroll all the way down to the very bottom and then click on Submit button. Now, when they do that, several things will happen. First of all, you can see it's pretty quick, so it immediately comes back and says list of your selections is at this URL. So if I click on this URL, it'll actually bring up the sheet that I was mentioning earlier, which is the other element of the equation here. And as you can see, I already have a bunch of different things in there. And on the last line here, there's a new one called Ben, which is what I named. So that's what that subtitle name, that's when it shows up. And as you can see, it doesn't show me the entire spreadsheet. It only shows me columns U and forward. And if I had a smaller screen, it would just pretty much be VW like XYZ, and that's it. In your case, depending how wide your monitor is, it might be more, might be less. But the bottom line is it doesn't show the entire spreadsheet intentionally. So I'm gonna make it a little bit bigger. I want to make sure Zara can read it. She always complains about my screen being too small, text being too small. And as you can see, I got all these different things in here. We won't worry about it now. But the new one, it automatically adds at the bottom, and it's called whatever you called it. In my case, Ben. And notice that when I hover over any of these things, I can click anywhere I want. But if I hover over it, it puts this little pop-up, and this little pop-up allows me to click on it. So the actual links here, even though they look like links, they're clickable, but they don't do anything. It's the pop-up that goes on top of it. That's what actually does the job. So over here, I'm going to click on Ben. Now hover over Ben, and then click on the pop-up that comes up. And there's a little arrow here too. You can click anywhere in this line. And when I click on it, notice it immediately opens a new tab. And notice by the mouse that I'm not touching anything, no hands. It's doing it by itself. So the tool actually, what it does, it goes ahead and opens up, in this case, Gmail. And notice that in the search bar, it has my Ben Moskalansky search string I put in as part of my criteria. And now you'll see all the different emails and chats and everything you can imagine has the word Ben Moskalansky in it. It's going to be in there, as many as there are. So now I have the subset called Ben. So whenever I want to see messages that have Ben Moskalansky in them, that's all I have to do. I just simply go to the spreadsheet, and I simply click on the pop-up over Ben, and that's what I'm going to get. Now notice also I have another one just like it under the execute via inbox column right here. And if I hover and click on this link, notice it's going to open another new tab. And this tab now is going to be using the inbox interface. So there's inbox, and essentially has the same thing. Anytime there's any reference to Ben Moskalansky, you will see it everywhere here via inbox. It's the same emails basically, just shown using the inbox as opposed to be shown using Gmail. So it's up to you whether you want to be able to look at Gmail messages that you're looking for or inbox. Totally up to you. It creates the interface and ability to do it for either one of these things. Okay? So that's basic, very basic use of the deal. So now let's go back to the tool again. And let's see if we can do something a little bit fancier. So next thing here, it says from. So let's give it a title. And by the way, the title is required. As you can see, that's the only field that's required is the title. So I'm going to go ahead and subtitle. And yeah, since we're using Ben, we'll just continue with Ben. We'll say Ben's emails. Or I should say emails from Ben. Let's put it this way. Emails from Ben. Okay? So I'm going to skip search completely. I'm not going to put anything in there. But where it says from, it says email or name of the person emails from. So I'm going to put in ben@pcs-works.com, which is his email address. And so I'm just indicating to this tool that I want to look at the from line on the email. And if the from line comes from this email address here, then I want to see it. Okay? And to show that you can use combination of these things, I don't want to find it anywhere. What I want to do is I want to look for it in the inbox only. So as I scroll down under this heading, categories, locations, and status, one of the locations you can see is inbox. And these are just usual Gmail inbox locations. So I'm going to go ahead and say, click on the inbox, which means I'm looking for emails that came from ben@pcs-works.com. And I'm looking for the ones that are located in the inbox. And that's all I'm going to specify. Click on submit. And as soon as I click on submit, I get obviously the same link here. And so if I jump over to the sheet here, now notice that you can see it's pretty quick. By the time it comes up, it already has this entry in there automatically added. And so over here it says now I have this other line called emails from Ben. And if I hover over it like before, I'm going to get my link. I'm going to go ahead and click on this link, and that will open up Gmail. And when it opens Gmail, as you can see here, I got nothing but emails that are coming from Ben to me. I didn't specify it's to me, but obviously it will be to me. But basically, anything that came from Ben, from his email address would be here. Okay? And as you can see, the actual advanced command in the search box is from : his email address, space, in : inbox. So as you can see, it's not difficult to type these commands, but it does require a certain index, and you need to know what they are. Using the tool, you don't have to know anything. You just specify the criteria that's fairly easy to understand, and then you get the result. So there's that search, for example. And as you can imagine, if I click on the inbox, I would get exactly the same thing in the inbox format. So we're not going to do that. Each one will just do it in some of them. So we don't have to keep jumping back and forth. Okay? All right, so let's go back to the tool again, and to the form, I should say, and let's create another one. So another thing you can specify is the to line. So you can specify where it's coming from. You can also specify who it's going to. So if I say, let's say, emails to Rita. So in this example, I'm going to use my daughter's email address. If I can remember it. Rita, I think that's what it is. Anyway, we'll see if it works or not. I'm specifying on the to line here, email address of where the email was sent to, and I can specify additional criteria, but for now I'm just going to go ahead and just say submit it. And then jump to the spreadsheet, and I'm going to go ahead and let's use inbox here. Instead of the Gmail column, we'll use the inbox column and see what it looks like. So we're looking for emails that were sent to Rita. They should have some. Yeah, there's some right there. Okay, and so there's some emails there that I sent to Rita and pulled up in the inbox as opposed to Gmail because I clicked in that column instead. So pretty straightforward. And I can open the email if you want to just verify real quick. And you can see right here that was sent to her email address there. So basically that's that. Okay, and that's the example of using it with two lines. So you've got the from, you can specify the from, you can specify the to. By the way, you can also specify any combination of these two. And the combination, the way it works, it's if you're saying, give me criteria based on whatever I indicate on this line and whatever I indicate on another line. So for example, if I specify search criteria and then I specify the to field, that means give me everything that matches this search and is also addressed to this person that indicated to. Okay, not or, but and. There is a way to do these things with or, but they require not only special formatting, but also they're kind of difficult to put in this kind of form and make it more confusing to use. And most of the time you don't need it anyway. So, and there's a way to get around the or deal. So that's why the or is not handled. Actually, the advanced search can handle the or, where you can say, give me emails addressed to Ben or Rita. And so there is a single command you can specify like that, but because of the complexity involved in trying to get this information from people and explain to them what and what or means, I decided to bypass it completely and just let the tool use the and approach. So remember, anything you're indicating here, all of these things are used as if you were saying match criteria for this and this and this and that. Okay? If that's confusing, if you don't understand this, let me know. I'll try to clarify. But basically, it's what it means. The next thing you can specify is the subject line. So if I specify in the subject line, let's just say we want to find emails that have the word Beatles in the subject line. So in the subject field here, you put in the word Beatles, and then you click on submit, and it'll tell you that you got to give me a name. So we'll say Beatles emails, or whatever you want to call it. We'll just call it that. And then we go back again and click submit, and it'll do its thing, and we jump back to the tool. To the sheet, and then we click on the hover over the, let's just use Gmail this time. And by the way, you can see it says up here working, which means that initially it has to recalculate everything for all of these. So when you make any changes to any of these previously entered criteria, it'll automatically recalculate, so it'll be the latest and the greatest. So make sure that you kind of give it a few seconds of time, and then you can see the pop-up. So let's pull up Gmail for Beatles and see what we have with in the Beatles as the subject line. And as you can see, there's all kinds of different things. So Beatles pancakes and Beatles anthology and on and on and on. So basically, the bottom line is you can see it's finding everything with Beatles in it. Get rid of this. For as much as you have, I have tons of stuff for Beatles. So the subject is Beatles. So that's how you do the subject line. You can specify again one or multiple words. And keep in mind that as you're putting things in there, notice that they're added in there and they're there permanently. In other words, I can jump to the spreadsheet at any point in time, and if I wanted to look up Beatles emails right now, I could click here. But let's just go back to I don't know. Let's do Mark Barr's emails in inbox. I can easily go ahead and click on that, which is something I was doing before. Obviously, I was not doing it this time. And of course, as you can imagine, it'll come up and everything that Mark related that was there would show up in the inbox there. So as you can see, it's very powerful from a standpoint of only specifying criteria once. And then once you specify it in the form, it gets stored in a sheet. And then going forward, subsequently, if you want to use that same filter or same criteria for searching, you don't have to specify it every time. Just simply click on the link and there it is. So you only need to specify criteria for different things one time through the form. And after that, you just simply use the sheet to access it over and over as much as you need to. Think of it as the quick links in Gmail. If you know what quick links do, it's a good ability for you to put in search string and then save it with a certain name under this little quick links category that shows up on the left side of the screen. So it kind of looks like right here. So there's this quick links. The problem is that you can only store so many of them. I mean, I'm already kind of maxing out my screen, and I have a big monitor. Secondly, you can only make them certain names can be only so long, otherwise they'll be unreadable. They're already pretty much unreadable as they are even now. And so it's just very awkward to use something like this if you needed to do a lot of this. And as you can see, using the S.a.F.E approach, then they're nice, they're big. You can use Control Plus on the browser to make it even bigger if you want. And you can make it as big as you want. Note to zero here, and you can have as many of them as you want. And so. And of course, you can also, after you use all this stuff, you can always also, because it's a spreadsheet, you can reorganize or resort the order of these any way you want by using like alphabetical sorting, for example. And then, it just makes it easier to find that way as well. Or if you keep them in the order that you put them in, normally just in the order you put them in. So there's a lot more flexibility in terms of what you can do with these things. And you don't need to know the commands themselves, although if you'd like to learn what they are, you can always just, when you bring it up, it shows you in the search string what the command is. So you're welcome to see what the actual command is. But pretty much you don't have to look at anything. You just select it and use it over and over. All right, going back to the form again. So we covered the search, from, to, subject, label. Label is a very useful thing because a lot of people use labels. And so, for example, I have a label called My 10 Dishes, which is my new project. And so I'm going to put in My 10 Dishes as the label, and I'm going to call it My 10 Dishes. And I go ahead and specify that and click on Submit. And pull up the sheet, and let's just pull it up in Inbox. Not that because I have to or anything, it's just because it's fun to jump between different ones. So sometimes I use Gmail, sometimes I use Inbox. Doesn't really matter. Whatever your preference is, either one of these things will work. That's why I have both. So there is right here, there's email that shows in Inbox everything that has label. In this case, it's not a label, it's a bundle. So they call it in Inbox, but it's the same thing. And so all these different deals related to My 10 Dishes will show up, and then I can look at them, do whatever I want to do with them. As you can see, some of them are done, some of them are not done. And that's another thing I could do. I could go back to, let's close this and jump back and say, let's do My 10 Dishes in, Inbox. We'll just say in Inbox. And so we're going to go ahead and select label called My 10 Dishes. And we're going to also scroll down to where it says location and select Inbox, and then click Submit. And then we jump back to the form. And now we have, it's kind of misleading because it says Inbox, like, assuming the application is Inbox. It's not the application, it's just meaning in the inbox itself. So I'll pull it up in Gmail here. Let me go ahead and click on it. And so here comes Gmail. And as you can see, there's the My 10 Dishes label there, so it makes it easier to read. But you can see it's a lot fewer emails that we had. I already closed the inbox. Okay. Anyway, as you can see, if we do it with Inbox, it's fewer emails than if we did it without specifying Inbox, because it would show everything that's also been archived together. So you have a full ability to specify anything you want, wherever it might be. Okay? Very slick. Very convenient. All right, so let's jump back here to the form, and let's see what else we have. So another convenient thing that it has is ability to specify dates. So let's say, for example, I didn't want to look for emails. Let's see, it would be, let's go back to Beatles in March. hopefully we have some emails in there. So let's say I wanted to look at emails related to Beatles. So in the actual criteria, I'm going to specify the word Beatles again, but I'm going to also specify a date. So beginning date, nice, it gives you a nice little calendar. I'm going to go to March 1st, and then for the ending date, I'm going to go ahead and pull in March 31st. So now I have both of these, and you can type them manually or you can select from a calendar. Google Forms allows you to do it either way. It's pretty slick. And so I'm just going to go ahead and specify that and click on Submit, go back to my sheet, and I'm going to open it in, now it's the Gmail. So as soon as this working stops here, then I'm going to go ahead and select this link on the pop-up, and Gmail will open. As you can see, it's not instantaneous, but it's fast enough. I mean, it just takes longer to open Gmail than it does to do the actual search. So there's an email from March 9th, talks about McCartney, some new tour dates. Okay, so that's the only email I had in the month of March that came from, with the word Beatles in it. Okay, and if I wanted to do the same thing for multiple months, what I could do is actually, let me show you a little thing you can do, a little extra expert feature. One thing you can do is, as you can see, you get columns U, V, W, and so on. Obviously, there's more columns than that. We don't have spreadsheets starting with column U, it starts with A. The reason for that is because through AppScript, I'm actually compressing the information that's stored in the sheet itself. It's not going anywhere, but I'm actually hiding those cells, those columns, so they're not in front of you, so you just see the commands. So let's for a second open them back up again, and you click on that little arrow there in the row of the letters, and you can see all of these different commands specified. They're all there. I mean, that's how forms are usually stored. So what I'm going to do here is when it says Beatles, in the end I'm going to scroll to where it's got the dates, and instead of 3/1, I'm going to change it to say 1/1. So let's look at all the emails from January 1st through March 31st instead. Okay. So now I'm going to go ahead and refresh the spreadsheet, so everything gets recalculated. Okay. And okay, so now see it hit it again, meaning it's part of my calculation thing. So now if I click on this Beatles in March, even though it's called in March, it really is supposed to be, first quarter. But then I should hopefully, if I had more emails from than just the March one, then I should be able to see emails from January through March. And there they are. See, there's January, March, there's February, and there's some in January. So as you can see, you can change the criteria directly in the sheet itself, and then you simply refresh the sheet, and it's going to automatically recalculate the search. And obviously, if you don't change the name, title name, it's still going to be saying Beatles in March because that's what I called it. I didn't change that. But if you change criteria, the criteria will reflect it. So you can change both directly through the spreadsheet. You don't need to do it in the form. I mean, by specifying another form entry is what I'm trying to say. So it's very, very handy that you can, change things on the fly like that. You can enter new information through the form. You can just go back to the sheet and manually change things or execute things directly from the sheet like that. The next parameter you can specify is CC and BCC, which are pretty straightforward. I'm not going to give you an example because it's pretty straightforward. If you indicate CC, carbon copy of somebody in your emails, whoever they are, you put their email here, and it'll only show you emails that match with that CC in there. Same thing with BCC, blank carbon copy. Okay, if you wanted to specify a certain word in chat that you wanted to search on the chat messages, you can put them under this chat heading. So again, I'm not going to do it because it's pretty straightforward. It's the same kind of deal. File name is the thing that allows you to use to specify an attachment. So if you have emails with attachments, you can go ahead and specify the name of the file, and then when you're doing this, performing the search, it'll go ahead and show you any messages that have that particular file name. So it's not extremely useful, but they allow you to have it, so I put it in there as an option. What is useful is this file size deal. So what I can do is, for example, it says if specified, emails with attachment size greater than the number of megabytes specified will be shown. So I'm going to put in there 2 megabytes. So just put in number 2, and I'm going to say 2 megabytes attachments, or I should say more than 2 megabyte attachments to be totally accurate. So that's all I'm specifying. I'm not specifying anything else. And after I submit it and look at it, hopefully I have some. And there's some attachments that are big. Then I jump in here and let's see what Gmail finds here. Okay, so you can see all of these emails here have attachments, as you can see. And I'm pretty sure that, if you look at the sizes of them, this doesn't really show the size. That's the idea. It'll show you basically attachments that have 2 megabytes or greater attachments. So you can see it's got nothing but emails with attachments here. So it's pretty slick how you can do that kind of stuff. Okay. I know you hear me saying this is slick, that's slick. It is pretty convenient. And as you start using it, you'll see just how useful it is. And then you can specify some words in the search that you can exclude. So for example, if you want to specify a criteria, but there are certain words that wind up being mixed in that you don't want to be part of the criteria, you can specify them in this exclude field, and they're going to be excluded. So that's the basic criteria specification. In addition to that, now let's go over these categories, location, status. As you know, Gmail breaks things, and so does Inbox, into various categories. You got primary, social, updates, promotions, and forums. Those are typical things. So if you wanted to do a search for some kind of keyword or phrase that happens to be only in updates, then you would click on the updates, and it will only show emails that are in updates. So that's what that's for, to kind of limit it just to that. Location is similarly to the thing above, except it's actually physically where it's located. So that's what, like we were using Inbox a lot. You can use anywhere. You can use drafts. You can use spam. If you got something that you're looking for, it's spam. You specify location spam and location trash. The reason I have the other category here, it makes it much more powerful, is because in Inbox you can also have all these different bundles. And you have additional locations like travel, and now you have saved, and you have finance, things like that. So you can just type it in, because Google keeps adding these things all the time. Like now they added the thing called Save, which allows you to save from mobile directly to Inbox. So that's why I put that in there instead of constantly changing it to, to specify something else. You can just type it in, and it's going to find it there. That's what this other deal is for. Otherwise, it's pretty straightforward. Meaning you're indicating for whatever you're looking at there, you're indicating you're looking in this particular location. Okay? Then these things here are the statuses, typical statuses of emails. Like for example, let's say that I wanted to look at all the emails that are unread. So I can simply type in unread emails and scroll down here to click on unread and click submit. And now if I click on the spreadsheet, I have an entry for unread emails. So let's go ahead and jump to Gmail here. And as you can see, I got all these different emails that are unread. Nothing but unread emails, okay? Nothing here that's read. And of course, that's from all categories, so basically everywhere. Anything that's unread shows up here. So for maintenance, and I'm going to do a separate HOA on email management, it's a really, really useful thing to quickly go through and eliminate all the junk, and then, postpone some other stuff that you want to deal with later, and just really kind of go through email really quickly. It's very convenient to be able to do this. Of course, if you're doing it through Gmail, let's say I'm sitting in Gmail, and I wanted to select all my unread messages, I can pull down this menu and select unread. Then the problem is it only selects unread in primary. I can't select it everywhere. Okay, so there's really no way in either Gmail or Inbox to be able to go and just select unread messages. Now, to make matters worse, if you go to Inbox, for example, and let's say, let me just get rid of this and just simply pull up regular Inbox, you will see that my inbox is combination. I got, some of them are bold, some are not bold, so it's all over the place. But they don't let you select just unread messages in inbox. That there's no, in Gmail, like I said, there is a pull down, and I can say show me everything or select everything that's unread. There's no such option in inbox at all. There's just nothing there that says select only unread messages. And so there's really no way to do this thing. But if you do it using the if you use the let's close some of these tabs here real quick. If you're using the tool, then all you have to do is just simply select this one option. Since we already defined it, we need to go through the form again, and it is going to go ahead and pull up all the messages in Gmail from all the different categories that are unread with just one command like that, and there they all are. And of course, if I wanted to do this in Inbox, I would do the same thing. So close all this stuff. Hello. There we go. If I wanted to do this in Inbox, I just hover over the Inbox version of the command and bring that up, and there they are. The same messages that Gmail pulled up that were unread. Same thing here. It doesn't matter what the category is. So essentially, you're gaining commands that you don't have at all. You partially have in Gmail, and you don't have it all in Inbox. You're gaining ability to have such command with a single click using this using S.a.F.E, which is pretty slick. Okay, so that's that. Let's go back to other selections. So that's the status deal. So we have inbox, anywhere, spam, trash, other, and then we have unread. Read is the opposite of unread, so we don't need to do that. Starred, it means there's some kind of a star that was used on a message, so you can use that in combination with everything else you're specifying. Has attachments, similar to what I showed you before, except I specified the size. Here it just means it has attachments. So if I simply click on has attachments, and anything from a particular address, let's say I wanted to get anything from this particular person that has attachments, I just click those two. Let's get attachments. Give it some name, scroll down to the bottom, submit, and go back to here. And there's the Jill's thing, and let me see here. Like I said, as more entries you add, because it calculates everything, it has to take a little bit more time, but not too bad. And so if I pull it up now, it'll show me things that were coming from my friend Jill that had attachments in them. As you can see, there's Jill, and there's attachment. Okay, so anything that you had attachments will be shown with that. All right, let's go back to the form and see what else we have left here. Okay, in my G+ circles, that's kind of cool because you can actually, because in Gmail you can specify and identify circles, and then have, basically be able to see emails based on circles. This is kind of a useful thing. You can check this checkbox, which means that it'll show you your criteria. It'll select emails, but only with people who are in your Google+ circles. So, anybody that sends you that are your Google+ contacts, or are people that are following you in your Google+ circles, actually people that you follow, not following you, it would show up in this particular deal using that option. So that's pretty cool. And then the next one, I noticed the next three ones are reminders, not reminders, but it says inbox only. And these do not work in Gmail because Gmail doesn't have this functionality. So I kind of stepped a little bit beyond what Gmail can do and what Inbox can do together. And this is where it's Inbox only. And so the basic example is if you go to Inbox, you have a plethora of different things in there. I mean, all kinds of different emails and so on and so forth. And of course, one of the things you have is reminders. So if I click on reminders, it shows me all reminders, right? So you can do the same thing using S.a.F.E by clicking the reminders. The interesting thing about reminders is when Google shows it to you in the inbox, they show everything. They show you reminders that are pinned. They show reminders that are snoozed. They show you reminders that are done. Yes, they have a little different icons, but they're all together. And a lot of times you don't want to see them together. Like a lot of times you just want to see stuff that's snoozed, for example. Okay? So that's where S.a.F.E comes in also, allowing you to do just that. What I can do is I can say, check this to show me reminders and show me reminders that are snoozed only. Okay? Meaning I don't want to see anything that's done. I just want to see reminders that are snoozed. And so if I do that and give it a name, snooze reminders, and by the way, definitely recommend using reminders, godsend in terms of how helpful they are. Very, very useful. So definitely use those. So click submit and go back to the spreadsheet. And I already had them before, but that's okay. So again, clicking right now, even though I show it under Gmail, that's just lazy programming part on my part. It's not going to do anything useful. So don't click on things that are meant for inbox only over here. So we're going to click on the inbox link, just the Gmail link, and look what's happening. Instead of showing me reminders that are both pinned and done and that, it only shows me things that are snoozed. So these are all reminders that are snoozed. And so I'm able to look at things in a way which Inbox by itself does not allow you to do without specifying special commands and stuff. So it's very, very useful. Another thing you can do is you can do, for example, reminders that are done. So if you wanted to look at that, you can do, click on the reminders, click on done, and it will show you reminders that are done. I think I already have that in the spreadsheet. Let me see. Done reminders right here. So let's go ahead, click on that. And see, now it shows me all the reminders, and the reminders that are done. And by the way, that doesn't just include reminders in Inbox, which are these are. It also includes reminders that are in Google, that you originated in Google Keep. They show up here as well. So it says open Google Keep. That means this reminder was initially set in Google Keep. Okay? And also, it's reminders that came from emails. I'm sorry, not emails. So you can do regular reminders and email reminders. So this is a regular reminder, which basically is equivalent of a task. So there's, regular task reminder, looks like this. There is a reminder through emails. That's why these don't say reminder, but they have reminders on them, so they all show up. And of course you have the status, meaning all of these are done. So all of your reminders wind up being in a single place where you can get them. And if you just want to look at things that you've done so far, any kind of reminder, no matter where it's coming from, that it's done, then it's done. So very slick, very convenient. Okay, and you can use, like I said, these are checkboxes, meaning you can use any combination. So if you wanted to look at unread emails that have reminders on them and that are basically that's it. I don't think I have any, but let's see. Unread reminders. See what happens. I don't think I have any. I'll just try it. Go back to this point. Unread reminders. And there's the hover, and there's the click. Yeah, no results. So anyway, I don't have any of those. So right now I don't have any of those, but in the future, if I did, then I already have a link set up, a command set up, I should say, and then all I have to do is just click on it to execute it. As simple as that. Okay, so another quick thing I wanted to show you is that in the spreadsheet itself, if you wanted to change any of the parameters here, and then automatically have it work next time you run the search, you can just change it. Like for example, here, if I wanted to change, just for the heck of it, I'm just going to change, instead of Ben, I'm going to say Benjamin Moskalansky. The actual, search I'm looking for is, it will have Benjamin Moskalansky. Then if I simply hit F5 to refresh the sheet, then we'll let it do the recalculation here, and it's going to come back and give me the set here. And then if I'm going to go ahead and click on the deal, we'll just pull it up in inbox this time. You can see that it's only finding out Benjamin Moskalansky, not Ben Moskalansky. So before it was Ben or Benjamin. Now it will only find the ones that actually have Benjamin, and if it only has Ben, it wouldn't show up anymore. Okay, so that's kind of a useful little deal too. Okay, so you can easily change that man. Do it every year, because I think we're pretty much done with everything. Another thing I was going to mention is that when you have the form up and you specify any kind of criteria, like for example, so I'm looking for something that has Zara's name in it in my inbox, click submit, then it'll do its thing. And then before, as I was showing you, I would just go to Spreadsheet. You don't have to. If you don't necessarily need to execute that command or that search right now, you can just keep entering this by simply clicking submit another response. And then you create another one, another one, another one, as many as you need. When you get done, and you go back to the spreadsheet, then you will see that it'll recalculate everything. And there's the zero one I just added, and any other ones I would have added would have been there already as well. And you just click on it to execute it, and there it is. So that's essentially how you use S.a.F.E. For the most part, as you can imagine, I mostly deal with the spreadsheet. I don't touch the form hardly at all, because I don't need that many new things all the time. But if I do need it, obviously it's there. And so mostly it's just a link to the spreadsheet. I have in my bookmarks, and I can jump to it, and I can do whatever I want to do with it. Look at these emails. And then, of course, when you do get a subset, like right now we're looking at Gmail from Zara. If I wanted to at this point, I could just hit the L key, which is, change the labels. And if I wanted to, I could give, come on, Gmail. I guess it doesn't want to do it more. That's interesting. There's let me change labels on all of these. And I can do it this way. So I can select everything, and I click on L to select the label, and I can type in Zara. I need to select stuff, makes sense. And then I'm going to go ahead and create a new one called Zara, and that's it. Now I have a new label called Zara. So the concept here is very simple. But what you can do is you can do these search and filter selections, and then based on that, you just need to make sure that you select everything. Based on that, you can assign labels to them, and then you can do all kinds of different things with these subsets based on these labels afterwards. You can easily pull them up. If I go back to my emails, and it shows me just my regular emails, and I scroll down to my right there. So there's Zara, the label. If I click on it, it'll go back and show me all these same emails that I did from that thing. So I can select it either way. I can easily go back to the spreadsheet, and I can create a new entry. For example, called Zara label, and I can go back to where it says specify the label, and label is going to be Zara, and I submit that. And we'll go back to the spreadsheet. And we'll scroll down to where it says zero label. So now it's actually going to try to pull this up based on the label zero. And we'll do it in inbox because we did that in Gmail. We might as well do it in inbox. It works equally well here. So I'm going to go ahead and click on it. And also, it's another example how inbox by Gmail and Gmail is looking at the same stuff. It's immediately all same thing because if you create a new label, it's the same thing as new bundle, and they work in each direction. So there is all these same emails coming back in inbox that are marked zero. Now zero should be feeling really special because of that. Okay, so if you have any questions at all, then by all means ask me. You can find me on Google+. Actually, you know what, my little, yeah, I'll just pull up this screen here. Let me jump back here as I'm talking to it because you've seen me before. So we'll skip that and go right to this label. So if you have any questions, this is how you can easily reach me on Google+. That's probably the easiest, the best way to contact me. And I'll be happy to answer the questions. If you have any questions about setup of this thing or anything else, feel free. It does work pretty well. Once you get it going, which initially looks like it's a little hard, but it's not really that hard, then it's really slick to be able to use it and come up with all kinds of different variations of how you can look at your emails in a very simple way. At the same time, it's pretty competent in terms of what you can do with your emails that way, in terms of groups of emails. And of course, you can use it not only to assign certain labels, you can also use it to archive a bunch of stuff because you specify the criteria. It selects that criteria for you. Then you just select all these messages and archive them using any kind of complex criteria you want from S.a.F.E. You can also use it to delete emails. Another way, you can, if you don't have a specific label for emails you want to delete, then you might want to have this special kind of criteria you put in S.a.F.E to just get all those emails together. Then you select them all, and then you say delete, and they're all gone. So there's all kinds of different things you can do with it, and I'll go into more details about those operations in the next Hangout when I talk about email management. But for now, we're done. That's how you use S.a.F E, and you have a good day, and thank you. Bye-bye.